I'm doing journalism in Kenya, and my name's Will Carter. Kenya is former colony of the United Kingdom, gained independence in 1963. Current president is Kenyatta. His dad was the original president as well before him, and they gained independence. There's approximately 44 million people living there, and they've got quite a high literacy rate in comparison to that of their neighbouring countries like Uganda. They've got 4 daily newspapers in circulation that you can see, about 250,000, so it's not actually that much. It's about 13 per 1,000, and not many people can afford it anyway because it's quite an impoverished country in certain areas. And they have a similar thing to the BBC, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, which is fully state funded. Right, Press Freedom Index ranks them 71, improvement from 84, and it's purely because there's restrictions have been decreased from when it was originally set up their media systems, and also the technology is just vastly improved. 32% can use the internet, and in comparison again to a lot of the other countries, that's just insane. Right. However, despite what the index implies, it did say there has been no killings, no imprisonments of any journalists. However, we're going to have a look in a minute at some profiles of some people that actually have been supposedly killed by the government, none of which have been recorded by any organisations or anything. Yeah, there you go. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that. Basically, this guy died earlier this year working for a prominent newspaper. It was declared that he died from a hole in his heart, but there was never actually an official, non-officially looked into it, and his colleagues called for them to go further into it, but the government refused them, and colleagues later released that he was looking at sensitive reports on unlawful shipment of fertiliser and other illegal imports of cars in Mombasa, and there has been no motive confirmed, but with relates from email correspondence with his family and colleagues, it looks like it could have possibly been that reason. This chap worked for Citizen Radio, which is the largest broadcaster in Kenya, and essentially two gunmen walked into his home and they shot him in the chest. However, they did continue to loot the property, but his peers and families, again similar to the other guy, linked his reports to he was reporting the coffee industry, and the coffee industry is the largest. They create the most revenue, that and the tea industry as well. And he was reporting corruption, and basically the coffee industry has been known to kill various figureheads on their own boards, and he was actually his car drive was stolen from his house as well. But yeah, basically there's no motive confirmed there either. And Trent Keegan, he was, I think he's the only non-national that's been Kenyan that's been killed there, and his again was staged. It was staged as a mugging. The perpetrators basically stole his laptop and his camera, but everything else that would link to a normal mugging was cash wasn't taken, his passport that he had on him wasn't taken, and it was later found that his house was raided as well, and his hard drive and storage devices weren't listed in what the police found. And essentially the reason this was, he was also looking at corruption on a certain level, There's Thompson Safari Company, which is an American-based one, where in Tanzania having a dispute with the Maasai tribe over land, and essentially what's to believe is Trent Keegan witnessed a murder. Basically, some of the safari guys knocking off Maasai woman, and as a consequence 2 men were arrested, but 1 was acquitted, and without the support of Trent Keegan's brother-in-law and lawyer from New Zealand, the guy who still awaits charges, he wouldn't have faced any type of trial. They let him go originally. And this is the most interesting case of all of them. He died in 2009 working for Weekly Citizen, which is also one of the largest papers in circulation. He was found decapitated in the woods of his local town. And it was linked, this one again, to corruption, accusing top police officials of fraud in a construction project. And he constantly received death threats, as did all the other profiles. And 2 suspects were again taken into custody, but released with no reason and without charge. The chief investigator of it told several journalists, colleagues as well, the Weekly Citizen, and basically confessed that it was ordered by higher ranking officers. And this guy's lawyer, his family lawyer, also spoke to the suspects, and they also said, pretty much confirmed what the chief inspector said. But now, surprisingly, both have gone into hiding, so this case can't be taken further, and there are a lot of calls, and it's still going on, for something to happen about this. But with these 2 key guys, they've just gone because fears of government reprisals, basically. So with that, the point of that was just to make a point that it's not always necessarily the case what they've put on the website, the index, with like nothing happening. For those are clear ones. And the law and regulation in Kenya, they have a media council, which is a regulation body set up in 2007. They receive government funding, but they're largely an independent organisation. They only receive small amounts. That is debated though. That's their values, whether that's true or not. There's also Articles 33 and 34 in the 2010 Constitution prohibits the state from interfering with editorial independence with individual journalists. That is key. However, throughout the years, these laws are they've given off a good impression, but the government have actually strayed from these. And I think, in 2009, in 2009 they gained censorship powers in the name of national security, essentially because of the 2007 riots that erupted throughout the nation because of the polls were rigged, and they blamed the media for calling up racial hatred, for drumming it up. So this is like a negative impact the media's had on them, and as a result the government saw fit to basically give themselves powers so they can censor the media further. Right. This is another example of when the media they cover these type of aspects in a good light. It shows that Kenya are able to show alternative opinions rather than what their neighbours do. However, the government is still fighting it, and the Westgate Mall attack, I'm sure everyone knows about that. Basically, this is just a video, and in the aftermath, basically what's going on there?
This CCTV footage is said to have been obtained by a local broadcaster, KTN, from Kenyan police. The shop the soldiers are seen walking through is apparently Westgate Mall's Nakumat supermarket, which sold items including luxury foods and TVs. Blood can be seen on the floor around the central counter. The soldiers are carrying white plastic carrier bags. They stop near to a mobile phone outlets counter and appear to be looking inside before moving on. Then 3 soldiers can be seen. One waits by the entrance while another looks through items on the central counter. The first soldier then briefly joins the second at the counter. The third, in the top right-hand side of the shot, can be seen at the purple counter of the mobile phone outlet. In another piece of CCTV, soldiers are seen sat at the mobile phone outlet. One reaches over the counter and apparently removes a white item. Then more soldiers remove white items, which one news agency describes as mobile phone boxes.
Yeah, it's basically them just taking stuff. And the reason this is it's quite a bad thing is because the army was, I should say, the most trusted institution of the whole government. As everyone else has been saying, Africa is very, very, very corrupt. And because of their roles in UN peacekeeping, stuff like this, the army was seen as the only real professional institution in Kenya. But now, because the images like that after such a bad attack, the people really starting to doubt everything about the government, and as a result, I think this was earlier this month, Kenyatta tried to, well, he has amended the Communication Act, where essentially, because of the media depicting them in such a bad light, he's seen fit that if any further things like this should happen, they'll get a 20 million shillings fine, and that's to an individual journalist, and that's a ridiculous amount, and plus they can face prison sentencing. So it's basically just trying to gain more media control, which is a complete